I'm going to do a very quick run through of the common application for admission to NC State. I've already looked through it a little bit. It looks like NC State is the only school for engineering students. NC State's the only one that uses the common application or the coalition application. All of the other schools that we mainly deal with for engineering, they have their admissions application housed on their own websites and within their own systems. So every single one of them is going to be different, but there shouldn't be too much difference between them. And they're all very self-explanatory, but I'm just going to go through this common application really quickly, just to show you some things. If the students have not already started a common application, they're going to have to create an account. So they'll say that they're a student and type in their email address and their password. They can use their school email. The last couple years, some of you may remember that the school has been purging student emails. I don't know exactly how long after they graduate they do that. So we may want to consider, if they've got another email that they check and use regularly, they might want to consider using that other email, just in case as soon as they graduate, their Nash email, they get locked out of it or it gets purged. So they might not want to use their Nash email address here, and then just create a password and continue, and it will let them in. I've already created one. So I'm going to go ahead and just log in. Since I linked to the Common App from NC State, it has automatically put NC State into my dashboard. Now your dashboard lists all of the things that you're currently working on. There are some other little tabs up here that could be helpful. My colleges, I just have NC State because that's the one I linked from. It's got all sorts of different information that I might need for NC State. Regular admissions application deadline for fall 2018 is going to be February 15th. NC State does not take spring transfers for engineering, so this is just a general application, so we can ignore that spring 2018. We're not going to be helping anybody with a 2-year Ag Institute, so don't worry about that one either. There is an $85 application fee, but I will show you in just a minute. There is an option to request a fee waiver. Notice that it says recommendations are not applicable for the NC State website. NC State does not want transfer students submitting recommendations. They have specifically said that they will not consider any recommendations from transfer students. They do not look at them and they do not factor them into transfer admissions decisions. It also gives some information down here about the writing requirements. There is one required question and 3 optional questions. Before NC State started using the Common Application, all 4 of those questions were required, and I would suggest that our students answer all 4 of those questions, especially since they are here getting help from us, and we can kind of help craft those answers, make sure that they are grammatically correct and the spelling is correct and that they are written at a college level. So they should answer all 4 of those questions. So this My Colleges is just specific information about NC State. Under the Common App, so this is not specific to any one particular college. I can just go ahead and enter all of my information here and it would just pre-populate into any application I decided to fill out. Since I linked from the NC State website, it automatically put NC State into one of the colleges I wanted to apply to. If there was another college a student wanted to apply to, they could search for it here. I've already searched for our other 4 main colleges that we have agreements with through our Pathways Initiative, East Carolina, Western Carolina, UNC Charlotte, and North Carolina A&T. None of them use the Common App or the Coalition app. But if a student wants to go out of state, or if they have another school in mind, they can go ahead and search and see if it's in here, and add that to their dashboard to work on that one as well. But from their dashboard, they should go ahead and click on the application they want to work on, and it lists the things that they need to get done. So first, the common application, those are just like some basic things. They need to fill out their name, obviously. Have you ever had any other names? Male or female? If you don't identify as male or female, they do want you to pick one. It is starred, but if you would like to provide more information, you can. Address, contact details, demographics, geography, language, citizenship, scholarship information. The Common Application is partnered with ScholarSnap, a technology developed by the Michael Susan Dell Foundation to connect students with scholarships. If you would like to receive more information about scholarships, they can click yes there. And there is a Common App fee waiver option. So if a student thinks that they might qualify for a application fee waiver, they would have to choose why they believe they would qualify for that. And there are some different options here. One of those options is that they can get a supporting statement from a school official. So we would have to ask like our financial aid office to write a letter, or they would have to ask financial aid to write them a letter saying that they're in financial hardship and they cannot afford the application fee. And the student would have to sign that. So that is all the basic information for their profile. And then they would put in household information, educational information. They put in their current list of courses that they're taking. They can put in secondary school information. They don't have to provide high school transcripts, though. If there's any gaps between high school and college, or if they started college and left and came back, NC State usually wants to know, and there is a place to write an explanation for that. That's one of the writing questions. They want some information about some different community-based organizations they're involved in, and then what their career interests, and if they plan on going on to get a higher degree besides the bachelor's degree that they're going for right now. ACT, SAT tests, they want to know if they've taken those. Activities that they're involved in. I imagine if we say yes, it's going to give us an option to add them. So, yep, add activities. And then they have some colleges require submission of a personal essay. NC State does not. See, it says not required. North Carolina State University. So we do not need to submit this. But the disciplinary history, I know NC State does want you to answer these questions if you've ever gotten suspended or anything like that. So when you click from the dashboard on NC State, the basic Common App stuff automatically jumps over to all of this basic stuff that gets pre-filled into any application that you're filling out. And if it doesn't need it, it will specifically say for your school, this is not required. Otherwise, just go ahead and fill everything out. So that only covers the first part, the Common Application part. So some of these other things are specific to NC State. So the questions, these are NC State specific. So they want to know what degree you're applying for. And I had said 4-year bachelor's program. To enter fall 2018. NC State does not have early decision, so the only option there was regular decision. And engineering students do not have to submit a portfolio. Students going into like architecture or art degrees or graphic design, things like that, sometimes have to submit a portfolio, but engineers do not. So you would select no to that. This is one of the required questions under academics. First, they must select a major. Transfer students cannot go in undecided. They have to choose a major, and they can only choose one. In the past, you've been able to choose like a first choice and a second choice, and you cannot do that anymore. So they can only pick one major, and then they have to write a short little description of why they have chosen that major or academic program, and they can only be 250 either words or characters, so it can't be very long. So they have to get right to the point. If they've ever applied to NC State before, some of them may have if they applied right out of high school. And then there's a question here if they can be contacted via text message. Under residency, there's a link to the residency determination website, and it's going to ask them to go ahead and type in their residency certification number once they get it. Sometimes those things are not automatic. So it says they also have the option to enter it into their Wolfpaw account, which I'll talk about at the end here. Under More About You are the optional questions, which if we've got these students coming to us for help, and we've got them for the day, I would suggest they answer these questions. The more that they can tell themselves, tell about themselves to NC State, the better. And the more that we can help them kind of fine-tune these statements, the better as well. Make them college level statements with proper spelling and grammar and all that stuff. NC State is huge on diversity. So the first question is about diversity, what diversity means to that particular student and how they can contribute to the diversity of the campus. The second one asks about any obstacles or hardships they've encountered and had to overcome and how they've dealt with it. And then this is where if they've had any gaps in their education between high school and college, or if they started college and left and came back, they usually need to explain it here. Other information. This is criminal record information. They want to know if you've ever pled guilty or entered an Alford plea to a misdemeanor, a felony, or anything like that, or if you've got criminal charges pending against you. NC State does not want recommenders. You should have them do the FERPA release. That will allow NC State to send back their academic information to Nash Community College. If they're leaving us without a degree, then we could use that information to possibly graduate them through reverse transfer, but it also allows us to track them for other purposes as well. So they should do the FERPA release. Where it says invite recommenders, it does say down here, it said back on the other page that NC State did not want recommenders, but the additional forms down here are not required by NC State. It says the college report, secondary school, final report, midterm report are not required and not recommended. So this application is not difficult to fill out if you just read what it says. It will specifically say you should do this or you should not do this. It's got all of the information here, but then it changes the instructions based on what school you're doing. So it still has this here, but then it knows you're doing NC State, so it says don't do it. With the recommenders, it had said on a previous screen, NC State doesn't want recommenders. So I could go back and show you where it said that. And then we can keep jumping around. recommenders in FERPA. So my colleges down here, recommendations, academic evaluations, other evaluations not applicable at NC State. So we do not need to worry about that. So literally, just go off the dashboard. From the Common App, if you just go off the dashboard, NC State is the only one that's going to use the Common App. You just click on it and then go through these things individually. They will change to complete once everything's filled in. The writing requirements, this is not something you do separately. You will get to those within the process here. The common application has one of them, and then the other questions, the other 3 questions are under here. And I think the students should do all of them as long as we have time to check them for them. All the other applications for ECU, North Carolina A&T, Western Carolina, and UNC Charlotte, those are all going to be different. You have to go to the school's website and create an account on that website in order to fill it out directly on the school's website. But they really shouldn't ask for anything different. A lot of basic information. I would suggest to the students that they save these writing samples, these writing statements, because they may be able to use them again on one of their other applications, or maybe pieces of them, or they might be able to just refine them a little bit or fine-tune them so that they could use them again and not have to come up with all brand new stuff. So really quickly, just to finish this video off, I had said earlier I'd mentioned something about a WolfPaw account. NC State does not mail out admissions decisions. They're not going to call them at home if there's something missing in their file. Every bit of communication that NC State does with the students is through the WolfPaw account. So all of the students are going to have to, along with doing that common application, they're also going to have to create a WolfPaw account so that they can communicate with the people on the NC State campus about their application. So I'm back on the NC State homepage, and up in the search box on the top right, I just typed in WolfPaw. And the very first option that comes up is wolfpaw.ncsu.edu. There's not like an obvious link on the homepage that I can find. But that takes you to the WolfPaw page, and all the students can register for an account. They don't have to be a current student to have a WolfPaw account. So it does say down here, see it says prospect information. If you're a prospective student, you can still create a WolfPaw account. So they can just type in this information that they want, the NC State's asking for, and create a WolfPaw account, and then NC State will be able to communicate with them about their application. Their admissions decision will go to their WolfPaw account. If any information is missing from their application, a notice will be sent to their WolfPaw account. I think they'll also send them information about financial aid to their WolfPaw account. So they need to create a WolfPaw account right away once their application is in, and then they need to check that regularly. And I got there just from the NC State homepage by typing WolfPaw in the search box, and it was the very first option. And there was an option there to create or register for an account, and you do not have to be a current student. It does say you can be a prospective student.